It's fair to say more and more diesels were being brought to the island. Some were very pleasant, and some not as much. The engines were not too fond of them, regardless of how devious some can be. However, they were excited for another visitor, Gordon especially. Parked next to him with two tenders was no one other than his famous brother, the Flying Scotsman. Gordon and Scotsman were really close to each other. They were in fact brothers, although Gordon was slightly younger than Scotsman and smaller, of course. Scotsman also had two tenders. One was for coal and one was for water. Late that night, the other engines couldn't stop talking endlessly to Scotsman. "Were you in a lot of movies?" asked Percy. "Ho, so many," declared Scotsman. "Did you really go 100 miles an hour?" asked Thomas excitedly. "Quite, my little blue friend," admitted Scotsman. Then Duck spoke up. "How are the diesels on the other railway like?" "Ho, they're all right in my books," chuckled Scotsman. "I'm very well acquainted with them. Some are rude and some are nice. I was very lucky to have some of them give me a hand whenever I was loose of steam or having trouble up my hill." He then winked at Gordon, who blushed knowingly. The other engines chuckled, all except for Henry, who just sniffed. "Those diesels on your other railway bring a bunch of dead weight. They go as to hold you back from your work. I'm surprised the other railway is still looking up to them despite our determination." "Oh," sniffed Gordon, "and I'm sure the thought of having 6 lovely tenders is no surprise." The other engines laughed again, but Scotsman took Henry's words into account. Early the next morning, Scotsman was having a drink at the water tower when Sir Topham Hatt walked up. "May I be of assistance, sir?" he asked politely. "Why, certainly," announced Sir Topham Hatt. "Boko has broken down. A train of important enthusiasts are there waiting for him. Would you be kind enough to take it for him?" "Certainly, sir," he said proudly. "It'll be nice to stretch my wheels again," he thought to himself. Soon Scotsman backed down onto the platform. The enthusiasts were very happy to see him, and they flocked around the train, taking his pictures. Henry was just in the yard shunting, and was seething with jealousy. And soon it was time to leave. Scotsman was looking forward to a well-earned run. But as they pulled out of the station, Scotsman found the weight of the train hard to pull. The driver noticed this too, and pulled hard on the regulator, but the train was holding them back. At last it was no good, and the train came to a sudden standstill. Scotsman and Henry stared with bewilderment. The guard came out, and he found the problem. "The brake tender," he gasped. "We've forgotten to remove the tender." Scotsman was speechless. The brake tender was used for engines like Boko, who had trouble using their brakes. Henry saw everything and laughed. "Ha ha! Well, he seems I was right all along about dead weight." Scotsman was embarrassed, but secretly, he found it funny too. Soon the tender was removed, and Scotsman was on his way. Dead weight indeed, he muttered to himself.